Tianjin, located in northern China, is a major port city approximately 120 kilometers southeast of Beijing. The explosion occurred in the Binhai area. On the night of August 12, 2015, two massive explosions devastated a chemical storage facility operated by Ruihai Logistics. This facility stored large quantities of hazardous chemicals, including sodium cyanide, potassium nitrate, and calcium carbide. On the night of the explosion, firefighters responded to a fire at the Tianjin Port Public Security Building within minutes. They arrived at the Ruihai warehouse but didn't know hazardous materials were stored there. The fire started in a storage container, but employees couldn't provide details due to missing documents. Firefighters struggled as the containers were tightly packed, blocking access and letting the fire spread. Shortly after 11 p.m., an evacuation order was issued for the site and surrounding buildings. The first explosion occurred 30 minutes later, creating a shockwave that reverberated through the new Binhai area. A second, more powerful explosion followed 30 seconds later, shattering doors and windows of 17,000 households and igniting 6 major fires, which required 41 hours to fully extinguish.
The explosion caused serious social and environmental impacts, resulting in more than 170 deaths, hundreds of injuries, and many physical and mental trauma. The explosion also released a large number of toxic substances, causing pollution to the air, water sources, and soil, threatening the health of residents, causing direct economic losses of more than $1 billion. Many enterprises stopped production and families were displaced. In addition, the incident raised public doubts about the transparency of chemical management and the government's regulatory capacity, exposing problems such as improper storage, inadequate implementation of regulations, and inadequate emergency response capacity in chemical safety management to avoid similar tragedies. We must take comprehensive measures, including strict implementation of chemical storage and transportation regulations, strengthening safety training for professionals, and using advanced technology to monitor chemical storage conditions in real time. These improvements can not only effectively prevent risks, but also rebuild public trust in chemical safety and create a safer environment for society.
The Tianjin port disaster happened because of unsafe handling and storage of chemicals. It started with nitrocellulose, a flammable material that needs to be kept wet with water or ethanol to stay safe. However, rough handling damaged its packaging, and in the hot weather, the ethanol evaporated. This left the nitrocellulose dry and unstable, causing it to overheat and catch fire. The fire then spread to ammonium nitrate, a chemical that's normally stable but can explode when exposed to high heat. The intense fire caused it to decompose and trigger a massive explosion. This explosion then set off other chemicals stored nearby, like potassium nitrate and magnesium, causing an even bigger second explosion. Several storage issues made things worse. Chemicals were stored too close together, containers were stacked too high, and there wasn't proper separation between flammable and reactive materials. Firefighters struggled to respond because the area was chaotic and many containers weren't labeled properly. This meant they didn't know what chemicals were burning, which delayed their efforts and allowed the fire to spread. In summary, the disaster was caused by poor chemical handling, unsafe storage, and bad emergency planning. It shows why strict safety rules are so important when dealing with hazardous materials to prevent tragedies like this. The lesson learned about the Tianjin warehouse explosions highlighted the importance of rapid emergency response. Over 46 ambulances and 143 medical professionals were quickly dispatched to manage thousands of casualties. Local community involvement also played a vital role by providing aid and supplies to the injured. This can lessen the burden for the victims and in the medical field. Next, strengthening the safety protocols. The disaster revealed that the critical error in the chemical storage of the warehouse. Investigation found out that over 3,000 tons of dangerous chemicals improperly stored, which directly contributed to the explosion. The tragedy event also highlighted some critical failures in risk management practices within industrial handling. Companies must reassess their supply chain strategy and provide industrial training to the workers to handle the chemical properly. So, what is the preventive measurement that can be taken? Enhancing training and emergency preparedness is one of the key preventive measures. Workers must be fully trained to handle hazardous materials, safely and equipped with proper protective gear. Especially first responders. Regular emergency drills, such as fire drills, can help prepare both workers and local communities, ensuring a coordinated response and keeping residents away from danger zones. Stricter law enforcement is essential for safety. Governments should enforce strict chemical storage regulations, conduct regular inspections, and ensure workers and owners have proper licenses. Public awareness campaigns also play a vital role by educating people on the risks of hazardous materials, fostering a safety culture that prioritizes prevention over reaction.